The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
It is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. And the Sportsocracy is bringing you all of your Draftmas coverage leading up to the draft at the end of this month, which we will be covering live on the YouTube stream.
Every pick, I have so many stories. I've got one, so I'll be recording A-plus mock draft, 7 rounds, guys that your teams have talked to. There's a fun prospect that I can't remember what team he goes to, but he goes to a school that I had never even heard of before this started.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always fun for me.
I like it. All right, so all the Draftmas coverage here in the Sportsocracy and draft team needs. We've been going through each and every team in the NFL, and at number 32 overall, the first round.
It's 31. I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out. I'm not doing it. I'm tired of people saying, well, you got the pick numbers wrong. Not according to the NFL, I don't. But I'm really tired of responding.
With the last pick in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft, it is the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. Biggest need for this team?
I don't love where this offensive line is sitting right now. I didn't thoroughly understand the Jawan Taylor Orlando Brown thing. I mean, if you were catching a discount, all right, that I get, but you didn't. You lose Andrew Wiley, and now I'm just looking at going, A, you're really thin. Now, you still got 4 pieces that I like. One of them's playing left tackle for the first time in his life, which I'm not super fond of. So, for me, offensive tackle and edge are 1A and 1B. And it really just depends on what falls to you at the back end of the first round. The beauty of being a team like Kansas City is that, okay, so do you need a receiver? Yeah, you do. Because I don't think Richie James is going to – I don't think that's going to fill that need. And I get he was okay with the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you've fixed that. But then you look around the roster and just go, it's fine. You got Chris Jones. It's fine. You need another pass rusher? Yeah, you do. You added Charles Omenihu. Still need another one. You look at the line and go, well, you got 3 that I know are just all world.
Yeah.
And then you got to tackle, and I'm not so sure how that works. I don't love
you have a right tackle, at least, right?
I mean,
because you got Jawan.
This.
Because you got Jawan Taylor. So, I mean, if he's just god-awful on the left side, you can move him over to the right side.
Well, I mean, you didn't pay him $20 million to play on the right.
I don't
actually
care.
think.
If it's not working, I don't care. I'm going to move you to where it works.
Yeah, I'm not paying $20 million to a right tackle, but that's just me. And I'm trusting Andy Reid. If this was anybody else, I would be mocking this sideways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Andy Reid. I mean, I've watched him with Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, guys that I liked as a blanket scout, and apparently 31 teams looked at and went, no, more than once apiece. And they made them both Pro Bowlers.
All right, so how do you see the first round shaking out, and which one of those do they get?
Depends on who falls. If Darnell Wright or DeJuan Jones falls to the back end of the first round, they're not going to survive past Kansas City. Because that's your right tackle of the future. That's where both of those guys play. Then, now I'm looking at the line going, yeah, I'm okay. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If it's defensive tackle, which I do think is a need, Notorious B.I.G. in our YouTube comment said they couldn't stop the run with Kalen and Chris Jones. Kalen's gone. They need a defensive lineman. I agree with that. This might be the worst interior defensive line draft I've ever seen. And the ones that are even there, I don't necessarily think they fit next to Chris Jones. There are some that I like later on that can be pass rushing guys or runs, depending on what it is you're looking for. I'm not seeing a lot of guys that I'm feeling warm and fuzzy about taking early. Virtually every time I put a defensive tackle on a team, I feel like I'm reaching. Kansas City's not really well known for doing that. So I agree that that's a need, but I could also see them using that pick or using using their picks on other things and then finding a guy that's cut down the line, whether it's in the preseason or just somebody that's still out there that they feel like fits their system, because this is so bad on the interior.
So a guy like you like Mozzie Smith from Michigan.
I do, but I don't like him next to Chris Jones. I just don't think that's a good fit.
Okay.
I see him in the middle of a 3-4 because there are things about him that I mean, you see him in the lobby and you go, whoa, that's a dog. And then you watch some of his tape and you go, ew. Not as much dog-like as I would like it to be. And I'm just not sure that's going to fit next to Chris Jones. I'm also not sure he's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get into like the Brian Breezes and Kalijah Cansey, who I don't think is going to be there when they come up at 31. So it's hard for me to find a way that you're going to fill that because like I said, it gets so bleak down the line.
Right.
There is also a possibility, and just know that this has been said to me more than once, that the NFL on the whole is not as wild about the receiver class as you might think.
Okay.
Which means there is a better than zero chance that one of them falls to the end of the first round that you don't think there's any possibility it's going to happen. Whether I don't think it will be Zay Flowers. It could be Jalen Hyatt. It could be other guys we've talked about.
I didn't even know we were talking about Jalen Hyatt as a first-round prospect.
Depends on who you are. It depends on who you're talking to. That's one that I'm routinely told he's going to go higher than you think.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get into like Josh Downs. There's now no hope of him going in the first round. None. And it's because this wide receiver class is not as good as people think it is. And I agree. It's just they're on Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm on Quentin Johnston.
Mm-hmm. So the class is – see, I thought the class was pretty deep, pretty talented.
At wide receiver?
Yeah.
It's deep. There's just not the high-end talent.
Okay.
I mean, PFF put out a list, and I can't remember which one of the writers did it, but they ranked the receivers that have come out in the last 3 classes, much like we did.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 in this class that were in the top 14. So you don't have the high side, you just got a lot of them.
Yeah.
So you could see a team, like if Zay Flowers falls to 31, there's no shot he's not a Kansas City Chief.
Right.
None. And that's what they're going to do. It's what they do every year. Oh, yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah, doesn't that just irk you?
Oh, to imagine him and MVS and Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. I mean, it's just let's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
Why
they just
not?
be fast real.
Why not?
They just be fast real good.
I mean, Kansas City's one of those teams, though. They're one of those teams you look at and you go, I'm just gonna trust the process here.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, because it's what they do. So, ever since the Pat Mahomes era started, what they do is either sit where they are or they fall in love with a guy and move up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
With a team that's just desperate to bail out. That's what they did last year with Trent McDuffie. And I can't remember who the player was, but there was a player that went in front of the team they traded with, and they were they were blowing up everybody's phone. We must bail out. There's nobody we like here. And so Kansas City got a good value to go up and get a player in Trent McDuffie that they really liked. That's what good teams do. It's why teams like Kansas City are good for eons. All that and the fact you have the best quarterback in the NFL.
You also have running back listed as a need.
Do you know the running backs that are currently on this roster?
Well, I mean, I know
Pacheco.
Isaiah Pacheco, and CEH is still there, right?
We figured this out. He's awful, okay? He's terrible. He's awful. Other than that, it's failed New York Jet LaMichael Pirine, which there were times I wasn't actually sure that he understood he was supposed to run behind his linemen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Don't run away from them, run behind them. And Jerry and Ely. That's it. He's a little gadget back.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City is one of the teams I see in that 3 to 4 range. Running back falls that they really like the fit with Pacheco. And I'm thinking more of the Tajay Spears type. One that can get out in space and hurt you and feel that Jerick McKinnon role.
Mm-hmm.
They could also bring him back. Running back market hasn't moved at all. But could I see them looking at that going, we can spend our dollars better in other places? I do.
Okay. All right.
John Ross is also on this roster, and every time I say that, I just laugh.
Is he really?
Yes.
Kansas City's got 10 picks. They got 10 picks total. Now, 4 of those are in round 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So they got an opportunity here to add a lot of depth pieces, deep bench pieces. Is that where you're looking at some secondary help?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not as – I don't think the secondary is – I have a problem with, okay, you drafted 3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to add another young guy to that?
Right.
I would look to add a veteran. That's I get yelled at when we do these mock drafts all the time because, well, we need a corner. Yeah, you've already got 3 young ones. Yeah, you need one that's been in the league for more than 15 minutes because just compounding young on top of young is not really how you fix a problem. And I don't think it's a problem.
No,
I think
they
you just let
played
these
really
guys,
well.
I just think you let them develop for a year. And, I mean, they played well at the end of last year.
The rookies played really well in the Super Bowl run. So you couldn't ask for much more.
Don't be shocked if Kansas City is the team that sits back. And now they've been mentioned as a trade-up candidate multiple times. Just remember I said this, Broderick Jones. If he falls past the New York Jets, don't be shocked if they start trying to call to get up there to go get him. I've been told they really like him.
And when you're
the only ones.
And when you're a team that doesn't have a whole lot of needs, you don't have a whole lot of need for all that draft capital.
No, and
you've
got a lot of teams that are just desperate to bail out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Arizona, that's all the way to 3. You're not going that high. But they're the first of about 15 teams that would bail out for 100% value. If you would give them what these picks are actually worth, they'll bail out in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Problem is that nobody's jumping up and down to do that because there's not really high-end talent in this class. But don't be shocked if as you do with Kansas City, I've done it 3 years in a row with them. They just sit back, they take a few guys, and the next thing you know, they added 6 rotational pieces to an already ridiculously good roster.
They are the defending Super Bowl champions, and did they lose some pieces? Sure. But they got all the draft capital that they need to replace those pieces and, of course, be at the top of the AFC once again, threaten to win another Super Bowl for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. This is the Sportsocracy, and you're listening on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM at 1400, and, of course, everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Yep, the Masters was huge yesterday. Saturday was a washout, but it made yesterday even better. We'll discuss more of it coming up next.